How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Draft to the Future. I got Ryan over there doing behind the scenes stuff. My name is Matt, and today, very big show, very fun show. We are talking about all the bowl games. We're making predictions. We're talking about draft prospects who have caught our eye. Please check out other videos on the channel. I just did a real deep dive on my thoughts on Notre Dame and BYU and the whole BCS. I did talk about the BCS and the history of the college football playoff system and that whole rigmarole. So you can tune in there to get a little background and just some, in my opinion, the opportunity to get some context, because everyone's welcome to support their team. I don't like. I promise you, Ryan is going to fight for the Bengals until someone locks up the AFC North.
I'm
And
still mocking them at pick 32. So
yeah, and that's just kind of how you go. But you can't really argue that. It's one thing to support your team. It's another thing entirely to say that someone is wrong or being unjust in how they select a team, especially when you're beholden to a group of people whose sole job is to actually select whoever they want. But that's just a little summary, but that's in there. But for now, turn it over to Ryan. We're going to start talking about these bowl games and kind of what we're looking at.
all right. So we don't know everybody that's declared or anything yet for the game. So we're going to talk a little bit about those players that we've kind of kept an eye on, as well as our predictions. We're going to go through all of the regular games and then end with the CFP. So we'll get right into that and pop these up. So the first game on the slate is Saturday, December 13th, which is coming up this weekend. We've got the Cricket Celebration Bowl, which is at noon on ABC. And we've got South Carolina State versus Prairie View A&M. Now, that's not a game with a ton of high-profile prospects that we're tracking. It is still a little early in the process, so we may find some guys as we're deep diving. But we got one guy, Trevor Randall, who is a safety out of Prairie View A&M. And I've got South Carolina State winning, and Matt has Prairie View A&M winning. Real quick, the way that I kind of picked these games that I'm less familiar with the teams is I went with typically one of two things or a combination of the two things. Whoever I think has the superior quarterback or defense, or maybe both. Matt, how did you kind of make your decision on some of those games? You're not as familiar with the teams.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to have like a running counter, I'm writing down prospects right now, is I've been tracking all these guys, and so basically when I look at a team, I'll be like, oh, they got that guy, that guy, that guy. Like what team has most names popping into my head? Because I'm looking for guys who are performing well, and each guy I can remember stood out for some reason.
Okay.
So really, who had the most players who I think are good is
Gotcha.
I guess the metric.
Awesome. Then after that, later that night, we've got the Bucked Up LA Bowl, 8 p.m. on ABC, which is a little more high-profile teams. That is Boise State versus Washington. Now, there's definitely quite a few more players that I'm tracking here with Boise State. You've got Cage Casey, their offensive tackle, Mason Randolph, their center, Jaden Virgin Morgan, who's an edge, and then Marion McCoy, who's a corner. Those are all people that I've had my eye on at different times. And then Washington, some of the players there, Ephesians Prysock, Carver Willis, who's offensive tackle, Denzel Boston, which most people know, wide receiver, who's expected to go in the first couple rounds. And then Jonah Coleman, the running back, who is probably going to go at worst day 2. So those are there. Matt and I both picked Washington there. That Washington has a solid quarterback as well. They're just, I think, an overall better team. All right.
Yeah. Did you talk about that? Because you're talking about Boise State, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you talk about the tackle?
Yeah, I mentioned his name. I didn't really go into too much about him.
I just want to make sure he gets a shout out. He's a guy who I've liked ever since summer.
All right. Now on Tuesday, December 16th, only one game, so you have a few days without a game, unfortunately. But you have the NFL to tide you over. And then it's the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. I don't know what that stands for. I didn't really go that far, but it's at 9 p.m. on ESPN. This is Troy versus Jacksonville State. And with that, we both picked Jacksonville State. We don't have a ton of players here. We've got Devin Lafayette, the safety out of Troy, and Cam Cook, the running back out of Jacksonville State. A couple players to keep an eye on there.
IS4S is just a program.
Okay.
It stands for Integrated Solutions for Systems, whatever that means.
Exactly what I was expecting to sponsor bowl games. All right. So then we've got on Wednesday, December 17th, we got a couple games. The Staff DNA Cure Bowl, 5 p.m. on ESPN. That is Old Dominion versus South Florida. This is a couple teams that I expect there to be quite a few transfers, so who knows? That's the sad part about right now with making these selections. We don't know for sure who's even playing in the games. Mm-hmm. So, for example, one of the players that I'm keeping an eye on is the quarterback, Colton Joseph, who already announced he is transferring from Old Dominion. So is he going to play? Is he not going to play? But he's someone that I think is going to be someone to keep an eye on for next year. And then South Florida, we've got Trayvon Mitchell, defensive tackle, and Byron Brown, their quarterback. Now, that'll be an interesting one for Byron Brown because I don't think he's going to declare. I think there's a good chance he's going to transfer to where his coach went, which I believe is Auburn. So who knows? But me and Matt both picked South Florida there. Now that could definitely change if Byron Brown ends up not playing that game. Any other people to talk about there, Matt, or no?
Let me check on Louisiana for a minute.
Okay. So, yeah, the 68 Ventures Bowl, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. That is Louisiana versus Delaware. I don't have a ton of names at all there. I do like Delaware's quarterback. I think his name is Nick Minicucci. He's had some good moments, some not good moments. So, I do like him. Matt and I both picked Delaware there.
Mm-hmm. Now, Louisiana is different than Louisiana Monroe.
Correct.
Because I actually do have some Louisiana Monroe guys, but
all right. And then moving on, Thursday, December 18th, we got the Xbox Bowl, 9 p.m. on ESPN2. Missouri State versus Arkansas State. Now, Missouri State has a quarterback that Matt and I both have paid attention to and were at least high on at some point. Jacob Clark, really big guy with a good arm, and had an up and down season, had some injury issues as well. So we'll see about him. And then Arkansas State has Tristan Smith, a guard, someone I just have some notes on as a quality player at least. All right, and then we got two more games on Friday, December 19th. We got the Myrtle Beach Bowl at 11 a.m. on ESPN. So we'll see. Unfortunately, we'll be at work that day. But that's Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan. The only player that either of us had on our trackers so far is Nadame Tucker, the edge out of Western Michigan. And we both I picked Western Michigan, and Matt picked Kennesaw State there.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl, which is a mouthful, 2:30 p.m. on ESPN. Again, right during the workday. Y'all killing me with that because Memphis and NC State is a game I'm actually interested in watching because I've got a couple offensive linemen from Memphis, Chris Adams and Travis Burke. And Travis Burke is the one that's like 97 feet tall, right? Is that the one that I'm thinking of? He's like absurdly tall, or is it the other guy?
Oh, I don't have his height on this particular sheet I'm looking at.
But both of those are quality tackles. And then also the quarterback for Memphis, Brennan Lewis, has been around for quite a while. And then for NC State, Hollywood Smothers, running back, Justin Jolly, the tight end, Jacarius Peak, and offensive lineman, Sebastian Harsh, the edge, Brandon Cleveland, defensive tackle, Jamel Johnson, the corner. And I also like their quarterback, who is someone I'm going to be paying attention to going into next year, which is I believe CJ Bailey. Um, so he's a guy that has a lot of upside that we're going to be paying attention to. I picked NC State, and Matt picked Memphis.
I really like Peak.
Yeah,
And if we haven't already mentioned him, Sebastian Harsh is
yeah.
a
Well,
guy who
yep, I
deserves a
put
lot
both of
of
those
love.
down there. Those are guys that I think I'm going to be relatively high on. So,
Yep.
all right, moving on to the week of Christmas, we've got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, which, as a fan of potatoes, I
I've
love
actually
that
heard of that
game.
bowl. I've watched that bowl before.
Nice. So 2 p.m. on ESPN, Washington State versus Utah State. Um, don't have a ton of players there. I've got a defensive tackle from Utah State named Gabriel Inquez. Um, but we both went with Utah State. Matt, I don't know about you, but Utah just felt closer to the potatoes to me. That's kind of why I went with them.
I just don't imagine a lot of the starters for Washington State are going to start really.
Okay. And then yeah, so moving on. Now we're getting even closer to the holidays. We got 3 games now. This is where starting Tuesday, December 23rd, the games start to kick it up a notch. There's a whole bunch of games right in a row. The first one, the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl, 2 p.m. on ESPN. A game I'm really excited about, actually.
Mhm.
Toledo versus Louisville.
That's a good
Lot
line against Levin.
yeah,
Lubin.
lots of people that I like on this game. With Toledo, you've got the wide receiver Junior Vandeross a third, who's small but quick and shifty. Anthony Dunn Jr. the edge, Martez Poitner the defensive tackle, Avery Smith the corner, and then probably the star of Toledo, Emmanuel McNeil Warren the safety, who we're both pretty high on. Any Toledo players I missed there from you?
No, no.
Okay. And then Louisville has quite a few as well. Tayan Holloway, the corner, Jordan Gerard, the defensive tackle, AJ Green, the edge, Chris Bell, the wide receiver, who a lot of people love, Colin Lacey, wide receiver, and then Miller Moss, the quarterback, who had somewhat of a disappointing season, but still someone that we like. And then my favorite personally, Clev Lubin, the edge from Louisville, who again proved me right this year by just continuing to perform at a high level. Anybody miss there?
No. I mean, really, Clem Livin's the star of the show, and he like I'm mad that he's got a 2 p.m. game
Yeah.
because again, we're trying to get eyes on him, and I don't really understand why people aren't talking about him. I normally
Yeah.
I look at a guy like, oh, he's undersized or he's this or he's that. I'm like, what is going on? We'll talk about another one of those guys here in a little bit. A little bit.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So we both picked Louisville for that game. Then we've got the New Orleans Bowl, 5:30 p.m. on ESPN. Western Kentucky versus Southern Miss. Southern Miss's coach is leaving, I believe, which is new. Huff is his last name. Western Kentucky's got the quarterback Maverick McKiver, who has been up and down, but we've both kind of liked him at times. And then Southern Miss has a somewhat undersized, like thin corner named Josh Moten,
Yeah.
but he has got some pretty solid metrics to him. Anyone else there?
Not for Western Kentucky.
Okay, so I've got Western Kentucky winning. Matt's got Southern Miss, and we both picked UNLV to win the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl at 9 p.m. on ESPN versus Ohio. A couple people we've got here for UNLV. We've got Marcel McDuffie, the linebacker, Jaden Thomas, the running back, and then for Ohio we've got Chase Hendricks, the wide receiver, and Parker Navarro, the quarterback. Now Chase Hendricks is somebody that I want to see transfer and go to a bigger school, but we'll see. Anybody you want to talk about there, Matt?
I was looking at my notes. Did you give Jaden Thomas his love?
I mentioned his name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a running back who I think highly of. He's a little undersized, but I mean the guy is explosive.
All right. All right, moving on to Christmas Eve. We've got only the Sheridan Hawaii Bowl at 8 p.m. on ESPN. And with that, we've got a few players. Now, this guy can't declare for a couple years, but Jaron Sagapolotele, The quarterback is somebody that you have to watch. He's incredible. Has had an incredible season for a freshman. And then I've got also Jacob DeJesus, a wide receiver.
Mhm.
And the only player that I was really tracking for Hawaii, I believe he is draft eligible this year, is Kansei Matsuzawa, their kicker.
Okay.
At one point, he was on such a ridiculous streak. This season, he ended up going 25 for 26 in field goals and 37 for 37 on extra points, and has kicked some bombs. And his story is pretty cool. I've seen a little bit about it, so look into him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him kicking on Sundays, but despite his great leg, we both still went with Cal because quarterback is king in that case.
So I want to give a shout out for Hawaii. The safety Kilnahe Mendolia Jensen. He's someone who is standing out based on my formula.
Okay. Awesome. And then no games on Christmas Day, but the day after Christmas, you can sit down, enjoy your new toys, and watch some games, hopefully on your new TV. We've got the Game Above Sports Bowl, 1 p.m. on ESPN. Central Michigan versus Northwestern. Now, with Northwestern, there's a handful of guys. Griffin Wilde, the wide receiver. Aiden Hubbard, the edge. Anto Saka, the edge. And then Caleb Tiernan, the offensive tackle, is a guy I like as well. And then Central Michigan, I've only got one guy, and I think I'm going to let Matt bring him up.
Oh, Heldman?
Yes.
Yeah, Heldman is amazing. He is amazing. And I am stoked to see him go up against Tiernan because Heldman is a guy who I think he's unfortunately the best kept secret in college football. The guy's a monster. And I'm rooting for a great competition between those two because if he gives Tiernan fits, then he'll get the recognition I think he's deserved all season.
Yeah. All right. So we both picked Central Michigan there. Then we got the Rate Bowl at 4:30 p.m. on ESPN. Excuse me. Sorry, New Mexico versus Minnesota. Now this is an interesting game. Got some good players here. New Mexico's got Kywan McCray, who's a linebacker, and then Matt and I are both tracking Keyshawn James Newby, the edge. Minnesota, if you've watched some of my videos, I've been following Darius Taylor all season, the running back. I don't think he's going to declare, but he could declare, so we'll see. And then they've got an interior offensive lineman, Greg Johnson, defensive tackle, Devin Eastern, and then Kerry Brown, the safety. Anyone else there that I missed?
Not from that school, no.
Okay, we both got Minnesota there, and then we all picked the same one here. Surf Pro First Responder Bowl, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Florida International versus UTSA. I don't have anybody from Florida International, but with UTSA, you got Houston Thomas, the tight end, and Owen McCown, the quarterback. Bloodlines are something we definitely pay attention to. And Owen McCown, up and down, but he's got some really good skill to him.
I got an FIU kid for you. He's an interior
Okay.
O-lineman, Jaheim Buchanan.
Jaheim Buchanan. All right, I'll have to look into him. All right, and then on that Saturday, our first four game day, we've got the Go Military Bowl at 11 a.m. on ESPN. This is Pittsburgh versus East Carolina. With Pittsburgh, and this one's right in our backyard in Annapolis, actually, at the Marine Corps, at the Navy stadium. So with Pitt has some wonderful linebackers. Kyle Lewis and Raheen Biles are both really solid linebackers. They've got a couple offensive linemen, Ryan Bear and Jeff Percy. And then they have a fun little running back named Desmond Reed. And I didn't have anybody for East Carolina.
Me neither.
We both picked Pitt there. And then we've got Penn State versus Clemson at noon on ABC with the Bad Boys Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. This is going to be a fun one. This one's got probably the longest list so far that we've seen because Penn State and Clemson have a lot of blue bloods. You've got running backs, Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, wide receivers, Trevor Pena, Kyron Hudson, Devontae Ross, offensive lineman, Nolan Rucci and Vega Ione, and then Edge players Dennis Sutton and Zariah Fisher. Defensive tackle Zane Durant, who I just saw accepted his Senior Bowl invite. Linebacker Amari Campbell, and then corner A.J. Harris. That's all for Penn State. And then Clemson, you've got Avion Terrell, who's the corner who just declared for the draft. Wade Wood as the linebacker. Everyone knows Peter Woods. They've got a couple other defensive tackles named DeMonte Capehart and Stephen Green. They've got two edge players, TJ Parker and Will Helt. A couple offensive linemen, Tristan Lee and Blake Miller. And then the wide receiver, Antonio Williams. And then last but not least is Cade Klubnik, the quarterback as well, who by most of my metrics actually had a fine season. It's just not what we were expecting to see necessarily. So this one's I'm gonna be driving back to Maryland on the day of this game, so this is gonna drive me nuts not getting to see this one. But it's definitely gonna be one I go back and look at. Did I miss anything
there? They're gonna change the name of that bowl to the Disappointed Underachievement Bowl.
You're not wrong. Those are two teams that where we were talking about. Like literally, there were people that picked those two teams to face off against each other. And the player that we didn't mention for Penn State, obviously, was Drew Aller, the quarterback, who was injured and out for the season. He's definitely someone that's going to be paid to have some attention during the draft process, but he won't be there at this game.
Yep.
Then we've got the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, 2:15 on ESPN. This is UConn versus Army. I don't have any Army players, but I've got Skylar Bell, the wide receiver, and Byron Parham, the linebacker. Anybody for you, Matt?
What about the linemen? Oh, they declared for the transfer portal, didn't they?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was several offensive linemen that I had for UConn, but pretty much all of UConn transferred.
I got Army inter-offensive lineman Will Jeffcoat.
Okay, Will Jeffcoat. That sounds so incredibly Army.
Yeah.
That sounds like an NCO, a crusty old NCO. All right. Then we got into the Pop-Tarts Bowl. This is a game at 3:30 p.m. on ABC. I'm really hoping I get home to see the second half of this because this is a game I'm actually really excited to watch. There's a lot of players in here that I like. With Georgia Tech, you've got Haynes King, the quarterback, whose numbers always say he's solid. Jamal Haynes, the running back, Malik Rutherford and Eric Rivers, the wide receivers. They have a really solid offensive lineman named Keelan Rutledge. Then they've got a couple of defensive tackles named Akilo Stone and Jordan Vandenberg. And then BYU has a really great running back, LJ Martin, fun wide receiver, and Chase Roberts.
Is eligible?
Huh?
Is LJ Martin eligible?
I believe so, yeah. And then you've got Waylon Lapuaho, interior offensive lineman. And then they've got a couple linebackers, Isaiah Glasker and Jack Kelly. Anyone I missed there?
No.
Nope. All right, so we both have Pitt, Clemson, UConn, and I can't see because there's something over top of me here. You've got BYU winning, right?
I got Pitt, Clemson, UConn, and BYU.
Okay, yeah, I've got Georgia Tech taking that one down. But I've been dogging BYU all season, so.
Well, I think it's very interesting because I think it would have been nice to see BYU Notre Dame, and then one of the teams stomp the other one as a way of saying, see what we could have done.
Yeah.
And as a fan, I regret not being able to watch two teams who had an argument present their final argument on a field.
Yeah. I know I had said that there was 4 games on that Saturday, December 27th, but there's actually 8 games. So this is 4 more games. And I should be home for some of these last games, which is awesome. We've got the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. Apparently Snoop Dogg's sponsoring a bowl, which is awesome, at 4:30 p.m. on CW. That is Miami of Ohio versus Fresno State. Fresno State, E.J. Warner, another bloodline quarterback. Finn Claypool, the edge. I don't have anybody from Miami of Ohio. I think most of them are transferring. You got anybody there? No.
Jacob Spomer, interior lineman. He's a center.
Okay.
And that I do like Rayshawn Luke. He's not graded very, very high on my metric, but I do enjoy watching him.
Okay.
So he's a fun watch.
All right, we both picked Fresno State to take that one home. And then we've got the Isleta New Mexico Bowl, 5:45 p.m. on ESPN. North Texas versus San Diego State. This one's going to be interesting because I'm expecting some transfers out of North Texas. The only real person that I put there on North Texas, the main guy, is Mestamaker, Drew Mestamaker, their quarterback. There's definitely other guys that I'm a fan of on that team, but I think most of them are going to be transferring.
I love those linebackers.
Okay.
I love those linebackers for North Texas. And they're at least one of them is draft eligible and has been consistently in my top market. And for San Diego State, I am actually a huge fan of Jordan Napier.
Okay.
So that's going to be a good watch.
Yep. We've also got San Diego State. I've got Chris Johnson, the corner,
Yep.
who's going to be fringe first rounder potentially. And then Trey White, the edge. So that should be a fun game. We'll see if Drew Mestamaker plays or if he's already entered the portal and chooses not to. We'll see. But then we've got the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl at 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Virginia versus Missouri. Virginia, going to be kicking themselves because all they had to do was win.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting prospects in this game. For Virginia, I've got Jamari Taylor, running back, Jamal Adrian, the wide receiver, Mikhail Boley, offensive tackle, Brady Wilson, the center, and then Cam Robinson, the linebacker. And then got quite a few more for Mizzou. With Mizzou, you've got Jalen Catalon, the safety, Torian Pride, the corner, Tristan Newsom, linebacker, couple defensive tackles, and Sterling Webb and Chris McClellan. Probably my favorite player from this group, the edge, Zion Young. But they've also got Damon Wilson, the edge. Offensive lineman, Caden Green. I put offensive lineman because is he a tackle? Is he a guard? We'll see. Connor Tolleson, their center. Kevin Coleman, the wide receiver, and Brett Norfleet, the tight end. So lots of players there. Missing anybody, Matt?
No.
All
Or
right.
at least no one that I'm aware of.
Yeah, we both have Mizzou going, taking it home there. And then I had UNT and Matt had San Diego State. And the last game of the day for that Saturday is Kinder's Texas Bowl at 9:15 on ESPN. LSU versus Houston. Tons of players here for LSU. Whether or not they declare, that's another story. But you got Bauer Sharp, the tight end, whole bunch of wide receivers, and Aaron Anderson, Nick Anderson, Barrion Brown, and Xavion Thomas. Josh Thompson and Braylon Moore, interior offensive linemen. Couple edge players and Patrick Payton and Jack Pryburn. Jacoby and Guillory, the defensive tackle. The Weeks brothers, Witt and Wes Weeks, the linebackers. I have a feeling Witt Weeks is going to come back because of the injuries he dealt with this season to improve his stock. You also have Harold Perkins, who accepted a East-West Shrine invite, so looks like he's declaring. And then Garrett Nussmeier is also probably not playing quarterback, or who knows, maybe they will because it's his last game. But he is not. He lost a starting job. But then you've got Mansour Delane, the corner, which is going to be a very highly regarded player. And then one of my favorite safeties, AJ Halsey. And then for Houston, I've got Dean Connors, running back, Eddie Walls, the third, the edge, and then Matt's guy at tight end, Tanner Koziel.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to Koziel getting some prime stuff. And there are people talking about Connor Wigman staying in school, but if he goes in there and balls out, and then he comes in and he's adding to it's December, so that means every quarterback staying in school is going to be the number one pick overall next year.
yeah.
That's just kind of how it goes. But Connor Wigman is reigniting a lot of passionate draft people.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you watch all 8 of those games on Saturday, December 27th, give yourself a pat on the back because that'll be incredible. But then we don't have any games on that Sunday. But then on Monday we've got the J Lab Birmingham Bowl, 2 p.m. on ESPN. Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State. Got nothing for you on the players there. I've seen several that are entering the transfer portal already, but I don't really have any players of note for that game.
Me either.
But we both picked Georgia Southern to take that one home. Moving on. We've got Tuesday, December 30th. We've got the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, 2 p.m. on ESPN. Coastal Carolina versus Louisiana Tech. Another game that I don't really have anybody, unless, Matt, you do.
Nope.
All right, we both got Louisiana Tech bringing it home there. Music City Bowl at 5:30 p.m. on ESPN. This is Tennessee versus Illinois. Now, Tennessee, their quarterback's interesting with Joey Aguilar. I really like Chris Brazel, the wide receiver. And then there's a couple defensive guys I know you're a fan of.
Over in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Oh, the edge rusher.
Yeah, Joshua Joseph.
Joshua Josephs, he's real high on my board.
And what about your corner?
And my main dude, Colton Hood.
Yes.
I built that bandwagon, and if he falls into the second round, someone is getting a steal.
Absolutely. Yep. With Illinois, Luke Altmaier is interesting, their quarterback. Let's see. I have a couple tight ends. Cole Rusk. I don't think he's going to declare though. With their wide receivers, they do have who's your favorite guy? Their wide receiver.
The Illinois wide receiver.
Yeah, Hank Beatty.
Hank Beatty, yeah. Hank Beatty is there. I'm going through wide receivers right now, so I got so many names jammed in my head. But Hank Beatty's a gamer.
Yep. I really like J.C. Davis, the offensive tackle for Illinois.
And there's a safety in Illinois. Let me Miles Scott.
Miles Scott. We've also got Gabe Akis, the edge. I've got Gentle Hunt, the defensive tackle from Illinois, which makes me chuckle a little bit when I read his name. Dylan Rosiek, the linebacker. They've also got Xavier Scott, the corner.
Yep.
They've got Miles Scott and Xavier Scott, both defensive backs. So we both have Tennessee bringing that home, though. And then moving on, we've got the Valero Alamo Bowl at 9 p.m. on ESPN, and this is USC versus TCU. Now with TCU, they've got quite a few players. Bud Clark, the safety. You've got a couple linebackers with Nnamdi Abiazor and Caleb Elam-Zor.
Your boy, the wide receiver over there.
Yeah, my wide receiver, Eric McAllister, who I've been following all season. I really like what he's done this year. And then they also have another wide receiver in Jordan Dwyer. It'll be interesting. I don't think he declares if he has eligibility, but I really like Jordan Dwyer. And then Josh Hoover is going to be an interesting player. I don't think he's declaring for the draft. I'm pretty sure he's going to come back. Now, there's a couple of things that could happen with him. He could easily follow his offensive coordinator who just left, but I actually hope that he stays at TCU, and maybe the new offensive coordinator can take him to the next step. But you got anybody from USC? I know I've got some, but I'm going to start pulling them up.
I have been and remain in love with Mekhi Lemon. I'd be surprised if he plays in this game. And the quarterback over there, I think he might play because he's trying to get good film on tape. He's trying to continue to develop. I don't think he comes out, but
Mayava, right?
Huh? Mayava,
Jaden Mayava.
Mm-hmm. We think you should always max out your eligibility, but we think if he comes in and improves upon that season, there are people right now who think of him as a fringe first round, second round guy. But he could seal the deal.
Yeah. he's the type of guy that if I could see him balling out, having a great game, and if he declares, that's the guy that the
It's
Rams go and take at the end of the first round.
the Jackson Dart of the year.
Yeah, they've also got a tight end named Lake McCree, who I'm a fan of. Makai Lemon, you mentioned Makai Lemon, but they also have Jacoby Lane,
Yep.
who's the bigger body wide receiver. I don't really have. I do have an offensive lineman. Oh yeah, never mind. He transferred. Um, let's see here. I've got Anthony Lucas, who's an edge player. Or is he already out? I don't know. I have to go check. Keyshawn Silver is an interior defensive lineman. I've got a linebacker named Eric Gentry. No corners, and then
Both
with
safeties. Both
yes,
safeties are sneaky good.
that's what I was trying to wait for. Bishop Fitzgerald and Kamari Ramsey, two safeties that I think are gonna definitely catch some attention. Kamari Ramsey is a guy that I think people were pretty high on last year. But Kamari Ramsey is a guy that I think is definitely going to potentially rise up draft boards. I've got TCU winning, and Matt has USC winning. That's a toss-up game to me, but we'll see. USC should win. They absolutely should win. I'm just a big fan of Josh Hoover and Eric McAllister, so I'm hoping they pull it off. All right. Wednesday, December 31st, we got quite a few games for you. We got the ReliaQuest Bowl, noon on ESPN, Iowa versus Vandy. Iowa, you've got quite a few players. I've got Mark Gronowski, my quarterback I've been following all season. Had a bit of a letdown year, but he's got some great skills there. The whole offensive line, anyone on that offensive line, send them my way. They're all great. You got Max Llewellyn over on the defensive side. And then Vandy, that's where Pavia is, right?
Uh-huh.
So you've got Pavia, who could be a Heisman winner. Let's see. You've got Stowers, the tight end.
Mm-hmm. Jordan White.
Jordan White, okay.
Interior lineman.
Let's see, who else do I have? Wide receivers, I got one on here. No, I don't.
It's so easy to get Vandy. Like, they missed an opportunity. You put Vandy against Georgia Tech, that would be the greatest, like, trench war game ever.
Yeah, I've got Miles Capers, the edge player from Vandy. I've got Randon Fontenette, the linebacker. I don't have any corners for them, and then no safeties. With the next game, we've got Tony the Tiger's Sun Bowl at 2 p.m. on CBS. That is Arizona State versus Duke. Arizona State, from my understanding, I don't expect Sam Levitt to be playing in that game. He has all but declared he's transferring. So I'm not expecting to see that there. In there, let's see, who else do we have for them?
They got a tackle.
Oh, yeah, Ian Aker.
Ian Aker?
Yeah, I don't know how to say his last name. Then they've also got Jordan Tyson, who could or could not play. If Sam Levitt's not playing, I'm not expecting Jordan Tyson to play, but we'll see. They also have, let's see. Don't see anyone there. CJ Fight, defensive tackle, is someone. Keyshawn Elliott, a linebacker. Is it Keith Abney on their team?
Abney, yep.
So Keith Abney, the
super underrated.
I don't think I have him on my board. That's upsetting. Did I delete him? Oh well, I'll have to put him on my board. Oh yeah, okay. I have it as ASU. That's why it wasn't showing up. But yeah, Keith Abney as well as Javon Robinson, another corner. Um, so they've got quite a few, and then Duke, their quarterback is Darian Mensa. Um, my guy Brian Parker the second. We've got Chandler Rivers. Let's see who else.
Vincent Anthony looks
Oh
great
yeah,
coming off a bus.
yep. They've got a couple of safeties and Terry Moore and Caleb Weaver. I don't think Terry Moore is playing.
No, Moore hasn't played all season with
That's
that
what I
that
thought.
that ligament damage.
Um, I had not only did I have Vincent Anthony, but I also had Wesley Williams, who's another edge. Yeah, Brian Parker the second. He's probably an interior lineman in the league, but they have him at tackle right now. I do have a wide receiver in Cooper Barkate. Um, and then yeah, their quarterback, which is Darren Mensa. That'll be a fun game. Um, and then we've got the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, 3 p.m. on ABC. You want to talk about Texas or Michigan?
I'm going to talk about Michigan because Michigan has some guys.
Good. Also, I
Um,
hate Michigan, so that's wonderful.
yeah, I can respect it. Let's see here. We got uh, Jari Hill. We got. Hold on, I'm still kind of going through there, and I regret Michigan and Michigan State. Rod Moore, I don't know if he's going to play or not, or Justice Haynes, but they're guys that you should keep an eye on. Then you got my one of my favorite D linemen in this draft is actually Rayshon Benny. He was a 10-10 guy last year, and he's looking good this year too. He's arguably the most underrated defensive lineman in this class. So I really would like to see more of him in that regard. So those are the guys. It's kind of annoying. Oh, Derek Moore, the edge rusher.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of pass rush juice. And then the tight end Max Klein is going to get some love, and that's just to name a few.
Okay. For Texas, obviously everybody's going to be watching Arch, but he's definitely going back. So then we've got some running backs and Wisner and Baxter. We'll see if they come out. The tight end, they've got Jack Injuries.
Mm-hmm.
For at wide receiver, do I have anyone here? No, I don't know any other wide
No,
receivers.
they're all youngins.
Yeah, they've got Trevor Gooseby, the offensive tackle, is someone
Yeah.
that I'm definitely interested in. I think he's a really solid player that could rise up boards quite a bit.
This is an opportunity for him to literally play himself into the first round,
Yeah.
especially in a class where there's no one definitive at tackle.
Yep. DJ Campbell, interior O lineman, is definitely someone that I'm interested in as well. Let's see here. On the defensive side, we got Ethan Burke, the edge player from the interior. We've got Cole Brevard, who's 6'3", 333, big guy. Linebacker Anthony Hill just declared for the draft officially. Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker.
Yeah, he'll be a second rounder.
Huh?
He'll be a second rounder.
Yeah, he's super young, so some people thought he was going to come back. They have a corner named Malik Muhammad, another one named Jalen Gilbo, I believe. And then at the safety, they have Michael Taff.
I love that guy.
Who I know, yeah, you're a fan of. We both have Texas bringing that one home. I had Duke, you had ASU. And the last game of that day is the SRS Distributions Las Vegas Bowl, 3:30 on ESPN. Nebraska versus Utah. Utah's a fun team. They've got the quarterback Devin Dampier. They've got a safety named Tal Johnson. They have a corner named Smith Snowden that I like as well. They have maybe one of the funnest linebackers in Lander Barton, who likes to get on the offensive side of the ball as well. In the edge room, they have John Henry Daly, who sounds like a founding father. but he gets sacked like crazy. He came out pretty well in my metric. Um, then on the interior offensive line, they've got a center named Jaron Kump. And then we know about their tackles, Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fano, who are both highly rated players. Um, I've got their tight end named Dallin Bentley. Uh, and then yeah, like I said, the quarterback Devin Dampier. And then we got Nebraska. Um, I don't have really a lot of players from Nebraska personally.
So I got a couple I want to give a shout out to. Rocco Spindler is another interior O lineman. I still affirm that this is one of the deepest interior O line classes, if not the deepest I've ever seen. And then a name that I just want to put out there is Dane Key, a wide receiver.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, he's kind of like it'd be inaccurate to call him underrated, but he's one of those guys I think will just come in and be a reliable chain moving guy, a good depth piece for a team.
Yeah, I believe he came from Kentucky, is where he was beforehand. So he's definitely someone I have on my list as well. But we both have Utah bringing that one home, and then that's how we wrap up 2025, and then we hop in on Friday, January 2nd, into the 2026 football season. With the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, 1 p.m. on ESPN, Rice versus Texas State. Now, I definitely have some Texas State players. Let me roll through here and pull up some of those guys. I've got Dorian Strong, offensive tackle. Um, I have, let's see here, Khalil Alexander, who's an edge, and Kennard Snyder, who's also an edge. Um, I think that might be it for Texas State. Do you have anybody, Texas State or Rice?
Nah. I think Texas State is a well coached team, but I don't know if I don't know if I'm that high on anyone.
Yeah, I know Telek Lockett, I believe, is a offensive lineman they had as well, but he entered the transfer portal.
And
Um,
up next we got the
Up next, we
AutoZone
have
Liberty
the Matt
Bowl.
versus Ryan Bowl. Because you can't see it; it's right here on the edge of my screen. But I am a Bearcats fan. My wife went to UC, and Matt is a sailor himself. So we got the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, 4:30 p.m. on ESPN. Navy versus Cincinnati. I'll let you talk about the Navy, but for Cincinnati, there's lots of players I like. Joe Royer, the tight end, the most misused tight end in the world. Um, then you've got Brennan Sorsby, who very well could be transferring. There's some talk about him still declaring for the draft, so who knows? I really like Taryn Tayo, one of their offensive linemen, who I believe is going to come back. They've got some fun wide receivers in Cyrus Allen. And then I'm forgetting the name of the other guy. I'll check in a second. On the defensive side, you've got Jake Golday, who is just a blast to watch. I think he's going to be a day two, potentially linebacker. Jeff Caldwell is the other wide receiver, 6'5", 210, big guy. And Cincinnati also has Dante Corleone, who is the man. He is definitely an energy guy. I really hope he stays in Cincinnati. Not necessarily his best season, but he's a solid player for sure. And then they also have a safety who I highly doubt declares this year because he's pretty young, but Antoine Peak Jr. Did pretty well in my metrics. But that's Cincinnati. You want to talk about a couple Navy guys?
Well, so Blake Horvath is a pretty beloved leader there at Navy, and I have an affiliation. They got a fullback there who's really kind of productive, Eli Heidenreich, who is just a name I want to say anyway. I want him
Yeah.
to get drafted because I just want to root for a guy named Heidenreich, and then of course the crown jewel, Landon Robinson. We did an interview with him. It was a pleasure speaking to him. You can find that here in the channel, and he is going to be dominant. And what's going to be great is seeing him perform against one of the better offensive lines in the country.
Yeah, Cincinnati has a phenomenal offensive line coach, and their offensive line has been one of the best in the Big 12 this season. If Landon Robinson can get home against this offensive line, I think that's going to raise his stock some. So anyone listening that has ties to agents or NFL teams, tell them to please pay attention to Landon Robinson, because if they don't, they're just dumb. But then we got the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which has the most disgusting prize possible, at 8 p.m. on ESPN. That's Wake Forest versus Mississippi State. Let's see, for Wake Forest, I know I've got a handful of the guys on here.
I'm going to
I've
call out
got
Nick Anderson. That safety is good.
okay. I've got the defensive tackle Dallas Afalava, which is fun to say. I believe I have a tackle. Yeah. Lord have mercy, I can't say that. Lili
Yep.
Fa'amoi. All right, there we go. I did say it. And then they've got the running back Damon Claiborne. So that's who I've got from Wake Forest, Mississippi State. You got anybody else?
You need to know this name, Kelly Jones, the corner from Mississippi State. He has constantly been in my top 6, if not my top 5 of corners all year, and people are starting to hear his name. But um, he's going to be a value in the second round and a steal in the third round. Long, rangy, aggressive, and just constantly shutting people down in the SEC. So make sure you remember the name Kelly Jones.
We've got Isaac Smith as a safety. Let's see. Who do I have on the edge room here? I've got Will Whitson, who's an edge, bigger edge. He's 6'5", 295. Think I've got a wide receiver or two in here. Yeah, Jordan Mosley and Brennan Thompson, a couple wide receivers. Seydou Traore, who is a tight end. They have the running back named Davin Booth, and then I believe their quarterback's name is Blake Shapen.
Yep.
So he's not someone I'm super high on. We
I
both
don't
have.
think he's gonna play though because he got benched in rivalry week.
Yeah.
But maybe they let him play because it's his last shot. But
yeah, maybe. We have all the same wins here with Texas State, Cincy, Wake Forest, and Arizona, which is the last game. The Trust and Will Holiday Bowl, 8 p.m. on Fox. Arizona versus SMU. I'll start talking about some SMU guys if you want to prep some Arizona guys. But Kevin Jennings, the quarterback, is fun to watch. Now he's a small, undersized guy, but he is a quality veteran quarterback. I am a big fan of RJ Maryland, who is a tight end, or is he a wide receiver? I think they have him listed as wide receiver now, but he's a bigger guy. With at offensive tackle, they've got PJ Williams, who I know you're a fan of.
mm-hmm.
In the edge room, they've got a guy named Cameron Robertson. Don't have any D tackles, no linebackers. And our last couple, they've got Ahmad Moses, the safety, and then Isaiah Nwokobia, who I've been following all season as well. Not necessarily his best season this year, but I think he still has a role in the NFL. I think he will be playing on Sundays. So we'll see from there. And then Arizona, I know we've got some players on that.
We got Trey Smith on the edge, reliable with a little bit of juice. Then we got some interesting corners. We got Traydon Stukes, who honestly I've only just recently come to see, but fascinated with him. And right on the other side, JV Cole. And then we got Luke Weissong, who's a wide receiver who looks solid. And then, of course, Genesis Smith, one of the better safeties in the class, and he's definitely starting to garner attention for himself.
Yeah, I think people are going to fall in love with Genesis Smith. And I believe that is the last of the regular bowl games before we get into our actual CFP picks. So I think what we'll do here is I'll go through. I think yours are first, but we'll go through our picks for the actual CFP, and then we'll mention some of the players in those games as well. Um, so if you have a hard time reading this, I do too. But for me, these are my picks, I guess. So I've got Oregon taking down James Madison. Good story, but I don't really see them, being much of a competition there. I've got Oklahoma taking down Alabama, mainly because I just want them to. I've got Tulane as my upset over Ole Miss. I do think Ole Miss is going to be playing with some fire, but I do like a lot of the players. I like the quarterback for Tulane. I like some of their offensive linemen, some of their defensive players. And then I've got Texas A&M taking down Miami. I just don't trust their quarterback there. And then going into the second round, I've got Texas Tech beating Oregon. I've got Indiana beating Oklahoma. I've got Georgia beating Tulane. Georgia's just got too much talent. And then I have Ohio State beating Texas A&M. And then we're going to get exactly what the College Football Playoff Committee wanted, and Indiana is going to take down Texas Tech to face Ohio State, and Ohio State is going to bring it home. That is what I think is going to happen. Now, I think the reason that the bracket was the way that it was is because it pretty much ensures that there's going to be a Big Ten or SEC team, and it also gives a really good chance of having SEC, and Big Ten, Big Ten. So I think that's kind of what they wanted. But we'll talk about some players in those games in a second. But Matt, go ahead and talk through yours.
So I just kind of wanted to ask you something
Yeah.
when it comes to Miami, Texas A&M. I understand that Carson Beck is unreliable, but that quarterback in A&M, I mean, it's always exciting. But I mean, he's either going to have the greatest performance you've ever seen in a bowl game or the worst performance you've ever seen in a bowl game. That game in and of itself is going to be the most volatile game, and I think it'll be the most crazy game. I think that's going to be the game where it's going to have all the "I can't believe that just happened" sort of plays.
That could be like
reason.
Yeah, like last night's Charger Eagles game where there was 4 turnovers on one play.
Yep,
That
it's
type of
going to be
stuff.
crazy. So sticking with that game, I do have Miami beating Texas A&M. I have Ole Miss beating Tulane, although I thought that was kind of a toss-up. I don't know. Some people might be angry because Ole Miss stomped them. I'm like, you don't like. I think you're underrating the value of playing a team more than one time, which I'll get to later on. I have Oklahoma beating Alabama, and I have Oregon beating JMU. And then my bracket looks a lot like Ryan's, if not exactly. We got Texas Tech moving on. I got Indiana beating Oklahoma. More on that in just a moment. I got Georgia over Ole Miss, Ohio State over Miami. And then just because it's a rematch, I think Ohio State wins the second game. First thing I said to Ryan this morning was like, I think Indiana won the wrong game.
Yep.
Because I think they're going to collide again, and I think they're going to split. And I just want to say in my out loud voice, if you ask me what 2 teams could completely obliterate this game, I would say they are Oklahoma and Miami. Because I know why Ryan doesn't think highly of Miami, but if Carson Beck decides to be the quarterback everyone thought he could be, this is a very, very different bracket. And if the John Mateer of the early season comes in and he's fully healed, I think Oklahoma is a much different team in that regard as well. And I would call them the scariest threats to what I think would be pretty chalky throughout the rest of the bracket.
Yeah, so not too exciting in terms of our picks because we've got a lot of similar. We got the similar ending with some differences in the beginning. But let's talk through some of these teams and some of the players that they have. So I'm going to read off some of the ones from the first round that I have, and then we can talk about the other teams as well. We'll just quickly burn through the 12 teams and talk about the players there. With Bama has a ton of guys. They've got Ty Simpson, the quarterback, who I think should go back to school, but we'll see what he does. Jam Miller, the running back. They've got Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver. Caden Proctor, offensive tackle. Parker Brailsford, the center. LT Overton, Tim Keenan, and James Smith are all defensive linemen. Deontay Lawson, the linebacker. They've got Damani Jackson, the corner, and then a couple safeties in Bray Hubbard and Keon Sabb. Yeah, miss anyone there from me, you think?
Nope.
All right, then moving
Wait,
into
talk about that linebacker?
who?
The linebacker.
Deontay Lawson.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Oklahoma. Oklahoma has Kendall Daniels, who I have as safety / linebacker. He's a really big safety. Robert Spears Jennings, a safety. Grayson Halton, defensive tackle, who we both are fans of. Marvin Jones Jr. and R. Mason Thomas, a couple edge players. Fabechi Nwaiwu, the interior offensive lineman. I probably butchered that. Deion Burks and Isaiah Satenga, the wide receiver. And then obviously John Mateer, the quarterback, who could or could not declare. Missing anybody from Oklahoma?
Grayson Halton is
Yeah.
a interior defensive lineman. If I didn't hear, if you,
I did.
okay.
Yeah, he's a guy that I think people are going to really like. Then we got into Miami and Texas A&M. With Miami, there's obviously Carson Beck, Mark Fletcher, the running back, CJ Daniels, wide receiver, who's a fun guy to pay attention to. Got a couple offensive linemen, and Francis Mawigoa and James Brockermeyer. They have a corner named Keontae Scott, an edge player named Akeem Mesidor, and then this guy that not many people know named Ruben Bain Jr.
There's some dude named Bain.
I think he was in a movie. And then we've got Texas A&M. They have Will Lee the third, the corner. Torian York, the linebacker. Albert Regis, the defensive tackle. And then Cassius Howe, an edge player. They've got a couple four offensive linemen. They've got Armaj Reed Adams and Chase Basantis, who are interior guys, and then Trey Zune and Demetrius Crownover, who are the tackles. And they've also got a wide receiver in Casey Concepcion and Le'Veon Moss, the running back. Anybody I'm missing out of those from you?
Not out of that group.
All right. And then for Tulane and Ole Miss, we've got Shadra Hurst, who's one of my favorite interior offensive linemen, state champion wrestler. And anytime I see interior offensive lineman and wrestler, I get excited. Mm-hmm. They've got an edge player named Mo Westmoreland, and then a very weird tweener guy named Santana Hopper. He's been listed at D tackle. He was a D tackle at App State, and he at Tulane he's kind of played edge and interior. So he's a weird body size. But man, he's effective as a pass rusher. And then Ole Miss has quite a few guys. Antonio Kite, the corner. Suntarine Perkins, the linebacker. Xavier Harris, the defensive tackle. And Prince Will Umamnielen, the edge / linebacker. Offensive tackles, Diego Pounds and Jaden Williams. A handful of wide receivers, and Caden Lee, DeJon Stribling, and Harrison Wallace, a third. And then a tight end named Daquan Wright. Anyone I'm missing on those?
No.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Shadra Hurst go back to school either. I think he still has another year of eligibility.
I didn't put Prince Will on my board. I really thought he was. I didn't even know he was eligible, and I think he should go back because
he probably will. I listed him there as someone to watch because some of these guys are definitely going to go back. And then with Oregon and James Madison, I think you listed a handful of guys here in James Madison. Want to talk about those real quick?
JMU, yep. Let me get that. So JMU has a couple guys. Pac McMurty is offensive tackle. Then you have I don't know why I keep seeing a different alignment there. Justin Eaglin is a corner. We got uh, Al, Alonza Barnett the third, who played quarterback, and then hold on, am I reading this right? Jacob Thomas is a safety. He might arguably be their best player. Wayne Knight, Connor Swayze, if I pronounce it right, Carter Swayze. And then I want to verify one of the names I just looked at. Yeah, he's a quarterback. Alonza Barnett. I'm not saying he's amazing, but crazy because I actually have two guys assigned to that, so I might need to check on that. But I think Jacob Thomas is the best guy on that list.
Okay. And then with Oregon, there's a lot of players. You got a corner in Theron Johnson, the safety, and Dylan Thieneman, I believe, is his name. The linebacker and Bryce Butcher, defensive tackle Amari Washington, and I also believe they have is it Bear Alexander, who I think I needed. Yeah, Bear Alexander they have as well, who was very productive this season. They've got some edge players as well, and Tatum Tuioti, as well as Mateo Uyagalele.
Uyunglele.
They've got the Iapani Lalulu, the center.
I love
They
him.
Yeah. They have a couple offensive tackles in Alex Harkey and Isaiah World, and then Emmanuel Pregnon is the other one that's there, right?
Yeah, I think I'm a huge fan of Pregnon. I've been following Harkey. He just got an invite to one of the bowls.
Yep.
So I want to say then because I seemed caught off guard because I'm like, did I do this right? Why do I have two quarterbacks? Because Barnett, according to this, Barnett won Sunbelt Play of the Year, even though he's recovering from an ACL tear. And then there's another guy, Matthew Sluka. So
yeah.
The question
Matthew
is
Sluka was the one that left UNLV last year because of an NIL thing.
Yeah.
And then there's Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end, who people really, really love. I like him, but I'm not as high on him. There's running backs Noah Whittington for Oregon, as well as Anthony. That's Oregon State. Whoops. And then obviously the quarterback Dante Moore. If Dante Moore rolls through this playoff and dominates and takes them pretty far, this could be the thing that catapults him.
There's still a path for him to be the number one overall pick.
For sure.
One, I don't think anyone really anyone other than me, I don't think anyone really wants Mendoza to be the best quarterback in this draft. I don't understand it. Okay, I do. I'll say this, no one's like hostile because of who he is, but he's straight out of a 1950s television sitcom. Yeah. And that makes him an acquired taste. And so it's a little it makes it a little difficult, but if Dante Moore wins the national championship, Dante Moore will absolutely be the number one pick in the draft for that reason. But I think Oregon, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Oregon does. And I really, honestly, I'm rooting for JMU and Tulane, but you're going to learn a lot about Dante Moore when they play Texas Tech. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. So Matt, if you want to start looking at Texas Tech players, I'm going to talk about Ohio State players.
So Texas Tech, that whole line, I mean, dude, there's so many dudes. Let me see. They got Dante Balfour. They got Brennan Morton, the quarterback. You got Davian Carter, an interior O lineman. You got, um, hold on a second. Um, Jaden Cofield, an interior O lineman. Am I crazy? Yeah, Jaden Cofield, an interior O lineman. Not an interior D lineman. I'm sorry. Skylar Gill Howard. I don't know what his playing status is, but he was blowing games up left and right. Um, and then what's probably going to end up being this year's version of Harold Fannin, because I'm like, oh dude, this guy's awesome. And Ryan's like, hey, you know who I'm really looking at is Lee Hunter. So we're already fighting over Lee Hunter, and we haven't really even gotten into the draft process yet. And then I think there's a real debate. Obviously, David Bailey's getting a lot of the hype, but Romello Height um, is a different kind of person on the edge, and it's really more of a pick your flavor. I am a huge fan of Terrence Carter. I could be convinced he's TE1 in this class. I don't see what people see in Sadiq. Okay, look, I see the athleticism, but I need to see production. And then what? We got AJ McCarthy, and that's just to name a few.
You left out one of my favorites, Jacob Rodriguez,
Oh yeah, yeah.
linebacker.
Hold on a second. Am I stupid? What the? Oh, I haven't done my linebackers yet. That's why he's not on
Okay,
my. I haven't. I'm like, no way, no way. Yeah, I left
yeah,
him out because I'm looking at the wrong spreadsheet.
yeah. Jacob Rodriguez is such a fun player. You know, he's all over the place. He's got such a knack for causing big plays. So, really like him a lot. Ohio State. So obviously Julian Sands not eligible this year, not coming out, but he's definitely a guy you got to watch because he's going to be someone we're talking about in the future. They also got C.J. Donaldson, the transfer from West Virginia, the running back. They've got two tight ends. So Max Clare is the guy most people talk about. He is more of the receiving tight end. He's a very dynamic player. But they have another guy named Will Kazmarek, who is the blocking tight end, 6'6", 260. He had a lot of really good plays the last little bit of the season. I really like him. Um, from the wide receiver side of things, we've got a couple with Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis. I think actually, I don't know if Brandon Ennis is eligible, but Carnell Tate's going very, very high. And how high we'll see, but he's my number one wide receiver in this
Look at you,
draft.
look at you hiding from the debate. So hold on. If you're watching this, I want you to put in the comments, because Ryan is delusional and thinks Carnell Tate makes it past number 10, and I'm trying to help him. He's my friend. I love him. I want him to see the world for what it is, because there's no planet where Carnell Tate gets out of the top 10. But
Listen,
you can settle the debate. You can put your vote down there.
I want him for my second pick in our shadow draft, which is why I am manifesting. I am bringing him to the middle of the first round, so that way he'll be there for me to pick. All right. And also, I don't want him going to a team I don't want him on, so I can root for him. Um, so from the offensive lineman, they've got a guy named Austin Saraveld, I believe is how you say it, who's had a good season. On the edge room, they've got Kenyatta Jackson, and also Caden Curry. The interior defensive lineman. Sorry, they've got Tywone Malone, and then also Caden McDonald. Caden McDonald is a phenomenal player. They've got possibly my favorite linebacker in the draft, Sonny Styles. And they've also got Arvell Reese, who's a linebacker or edge, depending on who you're asking. From the corner room, they've got Jermaine Matthews Jr. And then you've got Davison Igbinosin, who had approximately 940 penalties last year. He got that fixed this year. And then possibly the best player in their entire draft class this year is going to be Caleb Downs, who I might be targeting with my first pick in our shadow draft. So
It
that's Ohio State. And you
has
talked about Texas Tech.
has Caden McDonald entered the argument for interior D line one?
I think he has. I think the problem why people will not want to lean that way is because of the lack of pass rush. Not that he doesn't have the ability to pass rush, but it's just not as I guess not as evident on the tape or like the numbers. So I believe that leaves us with just Indiana and Georgia. Which one do you want to talk about?
I've been talking about Fernando Mendoza all year, so I'll talk about some Georgia guys, and you can give your own thoughts on Indiana.
Okay, yeah, I'll start with Indiana, then I'll let you close it out with Georgia. All right, so with Indiana, obviously, Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza to me is a guy that is a can't miss quarterback. He may not be the world's greatest, but he is a very cerebral player that I think is going to be solid and can start very early. They do have a running back who I actually don't have on in my metrics yet, but I believe his name is Roman Hemby. He's solid. Don't have any tight ends for them. Wide receivers, they've got a couple in Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper Jr. Whether or not Omar Cooper Jr. comes out, I'm not sure. And then from the offensive tackle room, the least talked about incredible player is Carter Smith. Matt and I both really like him. He has had a really good season in the Big Ten by every metric that we have, and by when I'm watching the games, he doesn't let a lot happen. He does his job, and so I don't understand why he's not looked at higher. They also have Pat Coogan, their center. From the edge room, we've got Mikael Kamara, which craziest thing ever in that Ohio State game. At one point, I saw him drop into coverage against one of the big wide receivers from
I
Ohio State.
remember the text you sent. You said that text like, is he in coverage?
I was like, what is even happening? Then also they have a defensive tackle named Dominic Ratcliffe. They also have another defensive tackle named Landino, I believe, who I really like, but he's not eligible this year. From the linebacker room, they've got Aiden Fisher, who's solid. They have a safety named Amari Farrell. And then they also have a corner who I have been following all season, and D'Angelo Pons, who I absolutely love. Yes, did he get beat a little bit in the Ohio State game? Absolutely. But nobody does well against Ohio State. And considering his lack of size at 5'9", like 175, 180, the way that he is able to make up for that with technique and just the way he plays the cornerback position. And honestly, he's a hard hitter for that size. I absolutely love him. I feel like he's going to be a guy that goes on day 2 and is a very long time starter in the NFL.
The thing with Pons, and I want to say this in regard to the game, Pons had no business covering Jeremiah Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know I just said that in my out loud voice. He gave up like several inches and maybe even 20 pounds.
He gave 8 inches, not 8.
Yeah. And why I need to say that is if you read the height and weight of Jeremiah Smith and D'Angelo Pons, you're like, Jeremiah Smith had 100 touchdowns. Here's why D'Angelo Pons is special. If you're athletically gifted enough and superior to him, you will catch the ball. And Jeremiah Smith did catch the ball. And then Pons was always in position to make the tackle. So your best case scenario against D'Angelo Pons is you'll catch the ball. That's your win against Pons. Because there was one play where he got away, and even then, Pons, I think he was on the side that led Smith in to the rest of his defenders.
Yeah.
So to me, sometimes you like this idea of guys who like never allow a catch, which I think is kind of ludicrous.
Yeah.
But when the catch happens, that's all you're gonna get. And Pons did himself a lot of favors.
Yeah. All right. So that's what I've got for Indiana. And then you want to talk about Georgia?
So I got to talk about C.J. Allen because I haven't added my linebackers to my big board yet. C.J. Allen is in the conversation for linebacker 1 in my mind. Sonny Styles is up there. But there's something to be said for an old school thumper linebacker. I absolutely love him. I promise you he will go no later than early round 2. A real special talent there. And I have to talk about him from memory because now that I remembered, I haven't added my linebackers. I'd have been a crazy person if I didn't mention them. Then you got a couple tight ends in Oscar Delp and Lucky Lawson. Let's see what else we got. Because I'm trying to get around Georgia Tech as well. We got Daniel Harris and Dalen Everett. Those are corners who can shine under the right circumstances. Let me see what else I can do here. Because here's a guy. I believe in Zachariah Branch. He is a first-round talent. I believe in Zachariah Branch. Now Ryan's going to steal him from me with the second pick because now Ryan knows what I think. I should not have said.
I like him. He came from USC, I believe.
Yeah, he is
very talented player.
A separation specialist.
He's across the board on my metric. Across the board, he is green in every category. So
yep. Then you got Josh McCray at running back. Obviously, Drew Bobo, I don't think he'll play, but he's definitely a prospect that you need to know the name of. And I'm already frustrated with the number of people from teams with the word Georgia in their name. Micah Morris is an interior old lineman. He's kind of overshadowed by Bobo, but the guy can ball. Let me see what else we got here. At worst, interior D lineman 4, Kristen Miller. He's underrated because he's just consistent across the board, which is exactly why I love him. So he's a guy I am targeting early round 2, and I think he'll fall to me. Then we got Elo Madozi, who's an edge rusher. Let me see here. Yep, those are. I think I got them all. Did I miss anyone?
I think so. They also have a good punter, Brett Thorson, but I think Madozi's probably going to go back, but we'll see. Again, it's early. But yeah, so we just gave you a crap ton of names and a crap ton of games. There's so much coming over the next few weeks. And for us, for the rest of this year, the only thing we've got on the books is we've got next week, the same time next week, we're going to talk about our shadow teams, their status, and then we're taking a break for the holidays. Obviously, there's going to be lots of football happening, but, there's going to be a lot of family time happening as well. So you won't see us back on a live until, let me just double check. I think I have it scheduled for January 6th to recap the bowls that have happened and also preview any remaining bowls like the CFP that are coming up. So that'll be the next time you see us on the 16th. On the 16th next week, we're going to do our shadow team update again, and then we're going to be gone for a little bit. And then we are going to be doing a lot. We're still trying to lock down our plans going forward. And you might see during the holidays, you still might see one of us pop on like a YouTube short here and there to talk about different games that happened. But we're about to hit the go time for draft analysis. We're both finishing up our data collection on the season for our players, and trying to build our boards before we get the athletic testing. That is because we only have so much. Prepping for all those all-star games, all that stuff. So expect to see a lot. And I'm also going to be reaching out to players again now that the season. We've also got the portal coming up. Like it's starting. People are being announced now, and then I think January 14th is when they have to announce if they're declaring for the draft, and then January 24th for the people that are in the CFP. That's when they have to announce.
So
So an insane amount of stuff happening.
I got one topic bar question for you regarding tonight.
Okay.
If I'm a fan of an NFL team and I don't have time to watch 20 bowl games and track everything, but if you tell me if you want a good look at as many prospects as possible and you can only watch one game guaranteed, what game do you tell them to watch?
That's tough. I kind of lean. I kind of lean towards either Oklahoma, Alabama, or maybe honestly Penn State, Clemson. It's so funny because like Penn State, Clemson has so many players, even though they're both big letdown seasons, but they have a ton of players.
Yeah.
What about you? Any of those?
I laugh because those were the two I was thinking about.
We have one brain. The two of us combined.
So we recently decided to combine all of our boards and everything because, early on when we started this, we had this illusion that we might find a guy, which is silly because the minute one of us finds a guy, like, oh, have you seen this guy? So even if we found a guy, we wouldn't keep a secret anyway. So we've given up on that idea, and there's really no point. But sometimes it's really amusing when we're like, really, the same two games.
Yep. And so we actually intend on, that's something we intend on doing this off season, is kind of really locking down our formulas that help us from the production side of things build our boards. So that's something we hope to do going forward as well.
I'll give you another one though, just to add. Low key, like Boise State Washington is not a negligible game.
Yeah, especially early on. But yeah, so we've got a lot coming. Hopefully, like I said, some more player interviews that we're trying to line up, and potentially some coaches and front office staff as well. Now that the season is almost over, a lot of those people that I originally talked to about doing interviews had said they needed to wait till the off season, according to their like public affairs folks. So I'm going to be politely reaching back out to those people here soon to see if I can make those come to fruition. But thanks for tuning in tonight. Make sure that you follow along the games. You're going to see us talking a lot about them. Like and subscribe as always, and we'll see you next week to talk about our shadow teams. Thanks for watching.